We keep going down and down that downward spiral that is the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and more details begin to surface. And I already made a video about the messages, the text messages that alleged shooter Tyler Robinson wrote to his boyfriend. And we already saw that they sounded pretty fake. But that's something that always happens when I'm doing body language analysis or any sort of analysis, and it might happen to you as well, is that when you have at least one night of sleep, I didn't sleep well last night, but whatever. When you have at least one night between finding out about something and, letting your subconscious just go through it, simmer it in the back of your head, then you realize more and more things pop up. And the thing with these messages is getting worse without having new messages. There are many things here that don't make sense. And I'm sure that so many of you were already commenting here in the replies. I mean, this is something that I don't understand. If we see these messages, take a look at this. If we see these messages in a chronological order, it's like they want to pretend, they want to make it seem that the boyfriend is just finding out that Tyler was the one who just shot and killed Charlie Kirk. But what's the problem with this? The problem with this is that once the boyfriend finds out, what are the two questions that come right after finding out, oh, Tyler just shot dead Charlie Kirk? What do you think were the two questions? The first question after finding out is why? Why? Why did you do it? See, the second question was, and this is the worst offense, how long have you been planning this? And I was very clear on X that dawned on me like yesterday. Why did you do it, and how long have you been planning this? These two questions back to back from a person that supposedly loves the other, loves Tyler, the alleged shooter. If it was a true lover, it would be making a ton of questions like if he's safe, if he can escape, if he left any traces, if he needs to flee to Mexico right now. I don't know. Any question. If a loved one, I don't know, my girlfriend, my wife, I don't know, shots dead somebody, I am not going to ask, why did you do it? How long have you been planning this? No, I would be asking, what do you need? Could you escape? Is the police nearby? What should I do? You would be desperate for the safety of your loved one, for the safety of your boyfriend, whatever. That is basically common sense. So many people are trying to justify, they ride this way. You know that the previous video, I was talking that, there's subcultures of furries. They speak in this, poetic ways. Okay, maybe I can imagine that in their forums and maybe in their urgent text messages, which is kind of a stretch, they speak in this poetry way of speaking, which is a stretch enough. But I cannot justify that the boyfriend is finding out that Tyler shot dead Charlie Kirk, and he's going to ask those asinine questions. That's not how humans work. This doesn't fool anybody. This was either fabricated by them, and the boyfriend already knew that he was going to do that, so he's an accomplice, most likely, or, somebody made up these texts. Question Everything said, something doesn't add up with these text messages. If you live with somebody, his roommate, his boyfriend, and call them love, as he did in the text message, they would already know from you that your father has been pretty MAGA since Trump got elected. On point, thank you, Question Everything. no fear on X. Yeah, that's something on point. Yeah, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Why would you say that if that's your boyfriend and you have been living with him for some time? They would already know this is a complete fabrication or made up to protect the boyfriend. As Matt Walsh says, I am leaning very strongly towards the theory that this text exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boyfriend. It's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. This feels like a strategy they cooked up from watching too much TV. And many people came up with the idea at the same time, was a 9mm SMG. Near the end of Breaking Bad, when Walt steals his baby, he calls Skyler. He knows the phones are being monitored and the house is filled with law enforcement. He immediately starts yelling at her, saying how it was all him and threatening her. Basically saying, you need what I do if you ever betrayed me. One of his final acts was out of love to clear her name and put all the blame on himself. That's what the messages from Charlie's killer to his boyfriend feel like. A desperate attempt to go down with the ship alone. It feels completely scripted, just my opinion, which it means that the boyfriend knew. And there's a very extremely good checklist in here. Murray Rothbard, 1776. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I have a really hard time believing in a short text exchange. Very short. You saw this. It was 1, 2, 3 screenshots. That's it. The alleged shooter, number 1, makes his confession. Number 2, confirms location of the weapon. Number 3, confirms the type of weapon. Number 4, confirms it was wrapped in a towel. Confirms his motive. Exonerates the decoy, George Sean, the old guy that they got at the start of everything, that was claiming that he was the shooter and shoot me, all that stuff. Admits to the bullet's engravings. Confirms the wardrobe change. Confirms how long he's been planning it. Discloses the existence and location of a now destroyed pre-written confession note. Randomly tells his boyfriend that his dad is die-hard MAGA, as if he wouldn't already know given the nature of the relationship, and is worried about his dad or grandpa being upset if he doesn't come home with a rifle, not the fact that he just used it to commit a murder. Not to mention a 22-year-old terminally online Zoomer using phrases like squad car, drop point, swept the area, my vehicle, till I died of old age, my old man. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. Hey, you're not the only one, Murray. So many of us, this is not right. Brendan Dilly, you will never convince me that the transgender dude who was in a relationship with Tyler Robinson didn't know he was planning to kill Charlie Kirk. The text exchange sounds like an attempted cover-up. It's that simple, and they're trying to do it in our faces. Even Kilgore reached the same conclusion. I put the alleged text exchange between Tyler Robinson and his transgender lover into ChatGPT and asked if it seemed real and genuine. It's not like I'm the biggest ChatGPT defender right now, but it doesn't hurt just asking the machine. And the machine said that the texts are most likely fabricated, far too detailed and too incriminating to be real. Thoughts? We have a lot of thoughts about that. And Sarah Fields had a pretty good point as well. He wrote, "Hey fascists, catch, Bella Ciao, and if you read this, you're gay." And then he wrote texts like that? Give me a break. Who's gonna believe this? I mean, I think it was Andrea Burkhardt on X. That he was saying something very simple. It's very simple for the FBI, for anybody to, with a subpoena, to find out if those text messages actually went out the the phones of these two at the given time as they claim. That is important. But at the same time, they might have written all that in advance and sent those text messages. You remember that in that FBI report when we still didn't know the identity of the shooter? In the report, it says that in the footage of the CCTV before the shot, the suspect, Tyler Robinson, got his phone out from his right pocket and then put his phone again in his right pocket. Maybe he was sending a pre-written message and all that he had to do was to press a button and the message was sent. But at the same time, the timing would not match because Charlie was shot dead at a very specific moment of the afternoon, and they would have to have sent those messages at the very exact moment to make sense the timing, right? For the chronology to fit. So we have the inconsistency of the tone and the messages, the absurdity of the questions. How long have you been planning it? I don't buy it. And a series of things that I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember that you have my merch right here below this video. All the merch of Much Love and Bliss, and also the Body Language Guy is right there for you to grab it. And remember, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.